If you were born between the years of 1960 and 2000, and you have noticed a specific, unexplainable ringing in your left ear precisely when you are about to fall asleep, or if you have spent your entire life being told that you are too sensitive, that you feel things too deeply, or that your nervous system seems to react to the weather before the clouds even gather, you need to stop what you are doing. You need to listen to this transmission with the entirety of your focus. Because what the medical community calls chronic sensitivity, or adrenal fatigue, or high-functioning anxiety, Edgar Cayce identified as something entirely different almost 100 years ago. He did not call it a disorder. He called it the biological evidence of a soul that is too large for the vessel it inhabits. We are about to discuss the surgeon's confession. There is a documented phenomenon, rarely spoken of outside of the most esoteric circles of surgical medicine, regarding patients who possess the specific vibrational signature that Cayce described. When a standard patient is placed under anesthesia, the electrical current of the body drops to a baseline hum. The silence is absolute. But there is a second category of patient, the anomaly. Surgeons have reported that when they operate on individuals who identify as empaths or intuitives, or those who carry the burden of the world on their shoulders, the electrical interference in the operating room behaves erratically. The monitors flicker. The rhythm of the heart maintains a cadence that suggests the person is not sleeping, but waiting. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, explained this mechanics in the 1930s. He stated that for certain souls, the attachment to the physical body is not merely a biological function. It is a high-voltage fusion. This is why you feel tired. You are not tired because you are weak. You are tired because you are running the energy equivalent of a nuclear power plant through the wiring of a toaster. Your physical body is literally vibrating at a pitch that creates friction with the dense material world around you. The surgeon sees tissue and nerve endings. Cayce saw the endocrine glands as the literal spiritual gateways. He called them the spiritual centers. If you have felt a tightness in your throat when you do not speak your truth, that is not stress. That is the thyroid gland, which Cayce identified as the center of will, physically constricting because the energy of your spirit is being dammed up like a river. If you feel a sudden crushing weight in your solar plexus when you walk into a crowded room, that is not social anxiety. That is the Lydon gland, the door of the soul, opening wide to scan the environment for threats that the naked eye cannot see. You have spent your life thinking you are broken because your instrument is calibrated to detect earthquakes before they happen. This is the reframe you must accept right now. The exhaustion you feel is the cost of being a bridge between the akasha and the earth. The biological anomaly that surgeons witness, that resistance to sedation, that hyper-awareness even in sleep, is proof that your consciousness is not fully contained by the brain. It is a field that surrounds you. Cayce warned that as we approached the 21st century, a new root race would emerge. People with thinner veils between the worlds. People whose nervous systems were upgraded to handle higher frequencies of information. If you are watching this, you are part of that wave. But nobody gave you the manual for the upgrade. You were given a Ferrari engine and put inside a bicycle, and then you wondered why you were shaking apart at high speeds. This is the secret of the biological anomaly. Your sensitivity is the guidance system. The pain you feel is not pathology. It is calibration. When you feel that sudden flush of heat, or that unexplained chill, your body is processing data that is not local to this time or place. You are metabolizing the trauma of the collective. This is what Cayce meant when he spoke of the cells remembering what the mind has forgotten. Your very DNA is wrapped in a sheath of light that is denser than the average person. This density requires more rest. It requires more water. It requires periods of absolute silence to recharge. The medical world tries to medicate this sensitivity into submission because they do not understand the engineering of the soul. They see a symptom. Cayce saw a superpower that was misfiring. In just a moment, I am going to ask you to make a declaration that resets this internal voltage. But first, you must understand the magnitude of what you are carrying. You are the ones who feel the grief of strangers. You are the ones who wake up at 3:30 in the morning because the veil is thinnest and your shift as a guardian has begun. This is not insomnia. This is an appointment. The surgeon's confession confirms that the biology of the mystic is fundamentally different from the biology of the sleeper. Your nerves are not just wires, they are fiber optics. Your heart is not just a pump, it is a broadcast station. So if you have spent years apologizing for your tears, or your fatigue, or your need to withdraw from the world, that ends today. You do not apologize for the function of the machine. You learn to operate it. You are holding a frequency that is keeping this planet stable. The shaking you feel is just the torque of the engine. I want you to close your eyes for a brief second and feel the hum in your hands. That is not nerves. That is power. If you are ready to stop fighting your own biology and start using it as the instrument it was designed to be, if you accept that your sensitivity is the physical evidence of your mission, I need you to leave a comment below. Write this down to seal the contract with your own cellular memory. Write, I am the vessel. Say it with me, I am the vessel. By writing this, you acknowledge that you are not sick, you are not weak, and you are not crazy. You are simply a high-performance spiritual technology that is finally coming online. The fatigue is leaving now. The purpose is taking over. Welcome to the waking world. Now that you have accepted your role as the vessel, let us open the hood and look at the engine, because what I am about to tell you changes the definition of human biology forever. There is a moment in the operating room that almost every surgeon whispers about, but never writes in the official report. It happens when the chest cavity is open and the heart is exposed, and the machinery of life is laid bare under the harsh white lights. For a split second between the beats, there is a stillness that defies the laws of physics. A surgeon friend once told me that when he looks at the endocrine system, he does not see organs, he sees capacitors. He sees batteries. He sees a receiver. And this brings us to the most terrifying and beautiful discovery found within the Sleeping Prophet's readings. Edgar Cayce did not look at a human body and see meat and bone. He looked at you and saw a vertical stream of energy anchored by 7 distinct points of high-voltage rotation. Modern science calls them glands. Cayce called them the spiritual centers. And if you have been diagnosed with thyroid issues or adrenal fatigue or hormonal imbalances, I need you to listen very closely, because you are not sick. You are misaligned. Let us look at the technical proof that confirms what Cayce saw in the Akashic records almost 100 years ago. For decades, medical science told us that the endocrine system was just a chemical messenger service, dripping hormones into the blood to regulate mood and metabolism. They told us it was a closed-loop system. They were wrong. Recent studies in biocrystallography have found calcite microcrystals inside the pineal gland. Do you understand what that means? Crystals possess a property called piezoelectricity. This means they can receive and transmit electromagnetic frequencies. Your pineal gland is not just an organ, it is a radio transmitter. Cayce said this in 1932. He described the pituitary and pineal glands not as biological pumps, but as the positive and negative poles of a battery that connects your physical body to the infinite data stream of the universe. This is the God node. And right now, yours might be trying to come online, which is exactly why you are suffering. Let us trace the circuit board of your soul to see where the short circuit is happening. We start at the bottom with the gonads or the Leydig cells. Cayce identified this as the door of life. If you have chronic lower back pain or a feeling of heaviness in your legs, that no amount of rest can cure this is not aging. This is the grounding wire of your vessel carrying too much historical charge. This is where your soul anchors into the physical plane. And if you are a person who feels deeply connected to the earth or struggles with material survival, it is because this engine is spinning faster than your body can handle. Move up to the adrenals. This is the center of survival. Medicine calls it the fight or flight response, but Cayce called it the center of preservation. If you suffer from sudden spikes of anxiety where your heart races for no reason while you are sitting on your couch, this is not a panic attack. This is the warrior energy within you activating because it senses a shift in the energetic environment that your eyes cannot see yet. Your adrenals are not malfunctioning. They are sensing a threat to your spiritual vibration, and they are flooding your system with energy to protect your purpose. You are not anxious, you are alert. Move up to the thymus located right behind your breastbone. This is the heart center. Cayce warned that as we enter the new age, this gland would become the most critical point of failure for the sensitive souls. If you often feel a tightness in your chest or a sudden wave of grief that does not belong to you, or if you find yourself crying at the beauty of a sunset or the tragedy of a stranger, it is because your thymus is acting as a filter for the collective consciousness. You are processing the pain of the world through your own biology. It is physically exhausting, but it is spiritually heroic. Now we reach the bottleneck, the thyroid, the center of will, the center of voice. If you have trouble swallowing, or if you constantly clear your throat, or if you have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's or Graves' disease, look at the metaphysical anatomy. This gland governs the balance between what you take in and what you put out. If you have spent your life biting your tongue or swallowing your truth or playing small to make others feel comfortable, your thyroid is physically manifesting that suppression. It is strangling your potential. Cayce saw the thyroid as the rudder of the ship. When you feel that lump in your throat, it is your soul demanding to correct the course. And finally, we reach the crown, the pituitary and the pineal, the master gland and the third eye. This is where the surgeon pauses. This is the God node. Science cannot explain why the pineal gland contains retinal tissue. Did you hear me? Retinal tissue, the same tissue found in your eyes. It is literally an eye that looks inward. When you close your eyes and you see flashes of violet light or geometric patterns, or when you hear a high-pitched ringing in your ear that is not tinnitus, that is the carrier wave. That is the calcite crystals in your God node, resonating with a frequency that is broadcasting from beyond the veil. Cayce taught that when the life force rises from the lower glands and hits the pituitary, it strikes the pineal and causes an illumination of the entire mind. It is a chemical reaction that creates a gold light within the brain. This is what the ancient texts called the halo. It is not a metaphor, it is a biological event. So when you feel that pressure in the center of your forehead, or those headaches that painkillers cannot touch, it is because the skull is too small for the expansion happening inside of it. You are undergoing a hardware upgrade while the machine is still running. So how do we fix the glitch? How do we stop the pain without shutting down the power? Cayce gave us the manual for this too. He spoke of the necessity of alkalizing the body to conduct the electricity better. He spoke of the specific vibrations of humming, which vibrates the sphenoid bone and massages the pituitary gland. But most importantly, he spoke of the attitude of the mind. He said that the endocrine system is obedient to the will. If you view your sensitivity as a curse, your glands will produce the chemistry of stress. But if you view your sensitivity as a superpower, your glands will secrete the chemistry of rejuvenation. You have to tell your body that it is safe to handle this voltage. You have to talk to your cells. This is the missing link that the surgeon saw. He saw that the patient who believed they would survive often defied the medical odds because their belief system physically altered the secretion of their endocrine system. You are the engineer of this vessel, so I want you to do something for me right now to prove that you are ready to take the controls. I want you to leave a comment that signals to your own biology that you are no longer afraid of the power you carry. I want you to assert your dominance over your own anatomy. Write this down. My chemistry submits to my calling. Write it. My chemistry submits to my calling. By writing this, you are sending a command from your conscious mind down through the vagus nerve and into every gland in your body. You are telling the thyroid to open. You are telling the adrenals to stand down. You are telling the pineal to tune in. Because once you align these 7 centers, you do not just walk through the world. You glide. The fatigue disappears because there is no more resistance in the wire. The brain fog lifts because the signal is clear. You become exactly what Cayce predicted, a living bridge between the earth and the sky. But there is one final secret about the blood that connects these glands. A secret hidden in the readings regarding the copper and iron balance in your veins that determines whether you are a receiver or a transmitter. And if you have ever tasted metal in your mouth during a moment of déjà vu, you are going to want to hear what comes next. Stay with me. We are just getting to the blueprint. You have felt it. That sudden metallic tang on the back of the tongue is not a symptom of decay. It is the taste of conductivity. It is the precise moment your biology attempts to switch from a carbon-based reliance to a crystalline transmission. And if you do not understand the mechanics of this switch, you will spend the rest of your life thinking you are suffering from anxiety, when in reality you are suffering from unmanaged voltage. Let us look at what the surgeon sees when he opens the chest cavity versus what Edgar Cayce saw when he looked at the same space through the lens of the Akashic records. The surgeon sees pumps and filters and tubes. He sees a heart that beats and lungs that inflate, and he calls it a machine. But Cayce saw the connective tissue. He saw the fascia not as mere wrapping paper for the muscles, but as a liquid crystal lattice capable of carrying information faster than the speed of nerve impulses. If you are watching this video right now, there is a high probability that you have been diagnosed with conditions that medical science calls idiopathologies. Things like fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue or generalized nervous system dysregulation. You have been told your wires are frayed. You have been told your system is too sensitive for this world. And they are right, but they are reading the schematic upside down. You are not broken. You are high-performance equipment trying to run on a low-voltage grid. Cayce spoke extensively about the role of the nervous system as the cup of the soul. He described the spine not just as a structural column, but as the rod of Aaron, a literal antennae. When you feel that buzzing in your legs at night, or that ringing in your left ear that no doctor can explain, or that sudden heat rising up your back when you enter a crowded room, you are not having a panic attack. You are receiving data. The problem is that you have never been taught how to ground the wire. Imagine you are a house wired for 110 volts, and suddenly you are hit with a surge of 500 volts of spiritual electricity. The lights flicker, the fuse blows, the system shuts down to protect itself. This is what you call depression. This is what you call burnout. It is a safety mechanism triggered by your own biology because your receiver is wide open, but your transmitter is clogged. The integration we are talking about today requires a complete reframing of your identity. You must stop seeing yourself as a patient with symptoms and start seeing yourself as a radio operator who has not yet learned to tune the dial. There is a specific prophecy in the readings that speaks of a time when the veil between the worlds would grow thin. Cayce said that in this time there would be those born with the specific task of acting as stabilization rods for the planet. Look at your hands. If you have a plethora of fine lines crisscrossing your palms, creating a web of intricate geometry rather than just 3 or 4 deep main lines, this is a somatic marker. It indicates a nervous system designed for hypercomplexity. It indicates a soul that agreed to process the collective emotional field of the environment around it. You walk into a grocery store, and suddenly you feel angry or sad or exhausted, and you think it is yours. You internalize it. You create a story about why you are sad. But the surgeon of the soul knows that 70% of what you feel does not originate in your own history. It is atmospheric static that you have absorbed because you are an open channel. The final integration is the moment you realize that the anxiety is just energy without a job. The shaking in your hands is just power without direction. When Cayce spoke of the glands, he called them the spiritual centers, but he was very specific about the order of operations. Most of you are trying to open the pineal gland. You are meditating for visions. You are asking for sight. But your lower centers, particularly the solar plexus and the adrenals, are fried. You are trying to put a lightning bolt through a straw. The readings insist that we must first rebuild the copper and iron balance in the blood, because iron is the anchor that holds you to the earth, while copper is the conductor that lets you touch the sky. If you are anemic, or if you are constantly cold, or if you bruise like a peach, it is a sign that you do not have enough iron to ground the signal you are bringing in. So the signal stays trapped in the nervous system, causing inflammation, causing pain. The body screams because it is being asked to channel the infinite without a proper ground wire. We have to look at the vagus nerve. This is the physical manifestation of what the ancients called the silver cord. It wanders from the base of the brain down through the neck, wrapping around the heart and plunging into the gut. It is the highway. When you are in a state of fear or when you believe the lie that you are broken, the vagus nerve shuts down. The highway is closed. The energy gets stuck in the solar plexus, which Cayce identified as the brain of the emotional body. This is why you feel that knot in your stomach. This is why your digestion halts when you are stressed. It is not just biology, it is a spiritual blockade. To rewire this system, we must engage in what the readings call the training of the will. You must consciously tell your nervous system that it is safe to conduct power. This involves a physiological shift, where you stop resisting the vibration. Next time the wave comes, next time the ringing starts, next time the anxiety spikes without a logical trigger, do not contract. Do not reach for the pill or the distraction or the phone. Sit in the fire, breathe into the base of the spine, and say to your cellular structure, I am the receiver. I am the lightning rod. Let it pass through. You will feel the heat move from your chest down to your feet and into the floor. You will feel the brain fog lift instantly because the energy is flowing instead of stagnating. This is the secret of the warrior of the invisible. A warrior does not ask for the war to end. A warrior trains to endure the battle. Your battle is not with demons or dark forces, your battle is with the resistance in your own wires. You have spent decades trying to fix a machine that was never broken, only misunderstood. You have treated your sensitivity as a curse, when it is in fact your clearance level. The surgeon cuts to remove the pathology. But we are here to integrate the potential. You are the bridge between the density of this rock and the lightness of the ether, and that is a job that requires a nervous system of steel and gold. It requires a spine that can hold the voltage. It requires a heart that does not close when the current gets high. If you have made it this far into the transmission, it is because your soul recognizes the schematic. You know this is true, not because I am saying it, but because your body is reacting to it right now. You might feel a tingling in the fingertips or a pressure in the forehead. That is the confirmation. That is the knock on the door. We are done apologizing for our intensity. We are done trying to dim the light so it does not hurt the eyes of those who are still sleeping. It is time to turn the voltage up. It is time to rewire the house. If you are ready to accept your role as a conduit and stop playing the role of the victim, I need you to signal the field right now. I need you to cement this shift in the timeline. Scroll down and leave the command. Write these words. I am the bridge between earth and sky. Say it. I am the bridge between earth and sky. Feel the iron in your blood anchor you. Feel the copper in your blood lift you. The integration is complete. Now we glide.